to start again. And okay, so this is our official launch. So now that I've sorted that mess out, I can get back into it. So okay, great. So I'm picking a color palette today, and so let us go ahead and get into. We need that. All right, cool. So let's see. Probably need to turn my music down a touch. Turn that down, but cool. Okay, good. So let's see. We are picking out a color palette. So forest orange. I'm going to grab some image referencing here. Cool. Now I'm going to come in here and use a color palette. Yeah, that is decidedly orange. Red trees. That must be a color filter being used, I reckon. So that'll be good. And then we're going to be cheeky and go with regards black coals. We're going to see if any image references come up for that. That please me. Quite possibly not. Let's grab that one and bring that in real quick and check on the colors on this one, because if it's got the color palette that I want, then great. And it kind of does. So the base color is an orange, is a off reddish. I think that's supposed to be natural stone. Not nearly as sharp as the orange forest that I was just pulling, but that is good. So let's see how these things. It's just a bunch of gray with different highlights. Okay, that'll do. Now we're going to go in and let's go with Seder. We're going to grab some Sederage. Let's see what we see. Go with that for some general statage. I'm going to look up the Deep Warlock. See if I can gain any insight from that. I'm thinking not as such. Let's go with Swamp Warlock. And go with that. Bring that in. I bet that's got some orangey going on. Yeah, a bit. That is going to be useful lighting, I think. The water down here again. So colorblind, you don't see the colors, so you have to find image references that I'll be able to fetch the color references for you, for us to integrate into the picture, and we're going to trust the skills of color-sighted artists that have come before us, which is why I import these pictures and do these color picking exercises here. see what comes up. It's got a greenish look to it. It's pretty black. I think it'll work though. And then last color reference that I want to fetch real quick is going to be, let's see what happens if I do Hurl Through Hell as an image. Warlock, the Fiend, D&D, 5th edition, Hurl Through Hell equals. I don't think I'm going to find anything useful here. That could be useful. Well, that one's cool. I like that. So we're going to go with this. Here. I think that's going to help. Okay, cool. So that should be all the components that I need to start constructing the color. So we are going to do this. Transform. I'm just pulling these pictures in to see where I think they're supposed to sit. Tentacles for everybody, and then general backdrop here. Okay, so let's see. Is that how I want to do this? Sure, let's do it that way. That works. Sorry, fidgeting with my heads up. Oh, I just put. Okay, cool. So that works out. That's all set up. Great. So we are going to Rough goes into the trash. Trash ideas all go into the trash. Line art. Okay, so I think we have a base idea of where we want to be at. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and look at this. That's got slightly brightness to it. This is where I want it to be. Just doing a basic color blocking right now. Just fetching off of colors that I believe are going to work together. And so the way that I've learned to approach illustrating is trust the color references, and since I don't see any color, the way that colorblind people have to paint in color is that we have to work on values, and by value you mean how light or dark a particular element within the picture is. So you can see right now I'm just doing a yellow and orange sort of, and I know what the colors are because I'm looking over here, so I can see we've got like a reddish, more of a reddish effect here, and then some more orangish here. So when I come back to my color references, so it's got more of a yellowish to it. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll drop yellowness in here, and then I'm just going to fade it in just to give it a piece of atmosphere. Most of the technique that I'm using for background in general is stuff that I've cobbled mostly from Joy of Painting, Bob Ross, layering, moving from the backward front. And then what I'll need to do is detail this character and then this character, and then work the detail back from the front. Otherwise, if I don't coordinate and prioritize detail for central figures and points of interest first, what will end up happening is there'll be an imbalance of detail between the different elements in the picture, and that can interrupt the feeling of depth. One of the ways that you can identify depth is by color saturation. The more saturated, the closer it is, as well as just raw details. So the more detail you have in a particular element, the further it gets pulled forward. And so I want to try to be mindful in this illustration of what elements are being pulled forward. So that feels good as a general base. So we'll call that sky. It's typically what we do. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. I'm disappointed that you guys aren't seeing. I'm going to have to figure out how you guys can see how you guys can see. Last time I was streaming, you had the sideboard over here, and you were able to see all the palettes that I was working with. And oh, that's right, you can't see the color palette. This is really obnoxious that I'm not getting that to come through, but I will lament. I'll just end my lamenting and get to that another time. So here, next thing I want to work on is the swampiness. So we got some greens here. Another blending effect. Right now, what I'm doing is I am going through the process of since I got a good rough line art down of what I want to compose. Hold on, real quick. I'm going to actually boost the signal here real quick. Here. Pictures, box, playing forward, tech, mechanics, sensitivity, realms, lore, art, sensitivity, layout. Live streaming. Okay, so we'll go with ground base, and then reference. We're going to the idea of that much density, that's too much. So let's go ahead and grab something off. That's probably better. Yeah, that's better. I can work with that for now. I think I need to adjust her gesture to be more grabby, like a clenched fist or something, instead of just her hand being held forward. I think that'll help it. Like maybe have her hand upturned. I think that'll help the gesturing for the spell. That's okay. So October's coming up, Stocktober. I am hoping to use the motivation of others that are creating art to inspire me to produce Warlocktober artwork for both this book and the Ravnica book that I'm working on. And beyond that, I am hoping to find and use inspiration to continue pursuing all the art that I've done throughout 2019 to drop that into stock art on DTRPG. I don't know who it is, but I just want to give shout outs to folks that have been picking up my my winter art pack on DTRPG with Frost Maiden, Rime of the Frost Maiden coming out for D&D. There's a big interest in cold stuff, and I'm happy to have a bunch of my winter illustrations on DTRPG for folks to purchase, and that of course encourages me to do things like Stocktober, where I will be packaging up more of my artwork and making it available. I'm also looking at duplicating other stock art heavy hitters on DTRPG and setting up a Patreon so that if you are a contributing Patreon member, then you'll have open license for my art as long as you remain a member, so that you don't have single use but multiple use licensing for the illustrations that I produce, which I hear is a really good deal for consistent producers, and also a good deal for the illustrators, because it starts to build up a stable base outside of just the per purchase of individual pieces of art. I'm admittedly coming in fairly late into the RPG creation scene, but it just seems to keep expanding. So maybe it's just the right timing for me. There's a lot of folks that are getting involved in gaming and then wanting to move from being DM into a creator, to be able to put their ideas down in books for other people to ruminate. I know that most of the stuff that I put in the books is stuff that I introduce and play with in game myself, so that looks pretty good. Merge that down. And we're going to come in here and let's do this. Okay, so if I'm going to have, if I'm going to build this piece and I'm going to do some hellish rebuke, bright light type of stuff going on in here, fiery effects going on here, if I really want to make those pop out, then I'm going to need to make this environment darker. Well, my biggest concern is that this massive darkness here, and I know that once the fire comes in, I'm going to be doing things like highlighting here and here and here and stuff like that for the fire effects that's coming in. There's going to be a lot of highlights on this guy, but I'm going to need to pay particular attention to how the density, the color density of this mass of dark versus the light, the bright colors of my pop. So I'm going to come back here to these forest pictures and see if I can gank some of this darker stuff here and pull that into the background here. I'll switch brushes just to make it more fun looking for everybody. Let's go with let's just grab one of my foliage brushes. What's a good foliage brush to use right now? We'll go with maybe baby. I hit that with some fade in fact. I'm not sure if I'm into that or not. Just gonna do some of that. There we go. That should be enough boosty signal for now. Let's throw my pin across the floor. Okay, this should be fine. We'll call that a tree slop. And now we should be able to lay in some elementalism. So let's see how these colors are working on this guy. I need some more color references, so I'm going to come in here real quick and go Hellfire. Now, someone's having a fragrant morning. Hallelujah. Swap that out. I'm going to swap that out for, let's do something weird. Do-do-do. Got my coffee brewed. new minimal tech mode just got loaded up into YouTube. I may give that a listen. I'm hoping that the music that I'm listening to isn't going to be license restrictive. Let's try that again. Something brighter is that. There we go. That's just pretty much white. Which is cool. That's what I want. I want some highlight here. I don't have much to say today. It seems to be a trend lately. I'm just trying to get back into this and just picking away at these books. I got a couple of different books that I'm working on. right now I'm just kind of trying to get some color in here so that when I can sit back and look at what's happening, I can just start assessing the the value, the flow of the picture. Like, are the characters being highlighted properly? Are they standing out well? Yada yada blah blah. And this one I may just fill in here like that. And like all this will change as I develop. Like I'll end up flipping this so I can do the flames properly. So they're pulling down instead of up. But that will be late stage end effects sort of stuff. And this is just helping me establish right now where everything is at in production flow to make sure that I'm using nonsense words here. Sorry. Like I said, right now I'm not worrying about the specific details of it. I'm just doing color, and again, you don't see color, so I'm not actually doing a color test. I'm doing a value test, and so the values that I choose are based off of the colors that I'm trusting from other illustrations and photos as being correct. That since all I'm working on is values, then I can just take the colors that I find in the illustrations and the pictures here and just grab color samples off of that based on the light dark value, the value of each color as I lay it into the picture. So like I know I can afford to have this character fairly dark while I'll want to work on lightness. Like I can have this character dark through here, but then I'll want to work on being lighter down towards the bottom. So just to make sure that it's that all the elements, the two characters, the tentacles, the firestorm, and the environments are all standing out to themselves together as part of a more cohesive total composition, which is how composition design works in painting in general. I would say one of the major advantages being colorblind when you're an illustrator is that you aren't once you learn to trust color references and how to pull values from them. I'd say the greatest advantage of being colorblind as a color painter is that I don't get fooled by the color. I understand from others' commentary that the colors that they pick, the richness, the saturation, the effects of the color will create a false impression of the contrast in a picture. So they feel like they're operating in good value variance, but in fact they're really working in the in color variance that doesn't actually come across in values. So it can feel very there's not a lot of pop in the picture, even if there's very saturated colors. The eye doesn't read it properly because it's oversaturated. The value, focusing on value in the picture, is what a lot of the artists that I respect will mention on YouTube and talk about working in grayscale and then colorizing later. So that's really dangerous for me to do. I initially attempted to do that, but what ends up happening in the colorization process is that you're using all the leveling tools and contrasting tools, not doing direct on paint. So if I get in, I can't do that because what happens is you have to kind of eyeball how the overall composition is bending as you affect the color curve inside of the picture itself. So I have to actually just physically come in and drop the color as a paint without going in and making alterations to the colors that I use. Like if I'm gonna a color artist may say, oh, this isn't saturated enough, I want to increase the saturation of this fire. They can go into the individual layer and then adjust the saturation levels to punch it up. But I can't trust that because now I'm not working off of samples. I wouldn't say, oh, this needs to be more saturated. What I would do is look at the value, look at the color, the color levers, and see how even they are. I wish I had my block working over here that I could show you. That'll be one of the things I fix after I finish stream, is making sure that I get my my windows up so that I can point to the color sliders so you can see what it is that I'm actually dealing with as I deal with them. But I can't just go in and just adjust the saturation in the picture as a whole. I have to go in and specifically select each color that I want to change the saturation on, which is why I want to pay attention doing color roughs here initially, so that when I go in, I do the detail. If I know I need to increase the saturation, then I can just do it manually in the moment. So that when I step away from it, I can trust that the saturation is good, that the brightness is good, that the color, and as long as I'm working on value contrast of lights and darks, I know that the composition will look good. So having said that, I am dropping the size of this down to very small ratio so that I can see. Jump over here to Dungeon Master's Guild real quick. Drive through RPG. So here's the dashboard, like one of the dashboards known as DM tiles. So what I'm doing right now is I am concerned about, of all things, my book cover ratio. Why is that? What is the size? Now I'm concerned about the size of my illustration as a whole. So give me a second here. Let me work with inches. Yeah, it's 8.75 inches wide. Why is that? 8.5. Oh, because I had bleeds. That's weird. So we're going to duplicate that layer into a new. Yeah, for some bizarre reason, I just suddenly felt like my ratios were off, and now I have to check my freaking ratios. Crop image. Image size, inches, equals. Eight by 11.25. Well, now I'm all concerned in general. Let's go to that. I gotta go fetch. Let's go to That's weird. Yeah, 8.5 by 11. That's the proper ratios. So let's go in here. Yeah, 8.5 by 11. Okay, that all tracks. This is good. I don't even know what I was doubting on. But I was doubting, so that fixed it. What a weird waste of time. Need something stumpy. That'll do. Good. Narbles. That'll work. Enter cards. Let's see, got that. I can see this frame up here, the neck and the shoulder structure is a little, it's cramped. I'm going to have to go in and rebuild that a little bit to relax it, stretch it out a little bit, make this feel less crimpy. Let's see, there, and then that's cool. That's interesting. I like that. So far, so good. Cedar. My coffee's getting cold. That is an indication that it would be soon time for me to make a switch up. Coffee's good. I think I ran out of music set. Yep, I sure did. I think I want to push on just a little bit for. I want to take a break here soon. I need to get new coffee, and blah blah. But I think I want to spend a few minutes blocking in this character here before moving on to another picture. So reducing that down. I think it should still read well. I think what I want to do is let's pick up some music. See what this does. Stream jam, art beats. Good. Now I'm going to go into Elf Druid. Let's see what happens if I can do that. Nope. What card is this anyway? Quiet Thunder Productions. Brian Syme. Good stuff, man. I'm flipping. Sorry, I can't. I'm not sharing the screen right now. I'm just flipping through trying to find a color palette that I like. Maybe that'll work. Where are you coming from? Maybe. No. Almost got it. This is a strong contender. Copy image. Yeah, I need something. No, that one's not going to work. I need something with a lot of green to pop. I need green to counteract the red that's going to be in the reds and the oranges in the sky. So, I mean, when in doubt, when in doubt, let's go with MTG Elf Green. I bet that'll find me a few cards I could use. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I think we can use this. What is your card? Each other warrior creature you control comes into play with an additional +1/+1 counter. Ooh, nice. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 on it has trample. Wow, that is a ridiculous card value. Wow. Satyr, and then whoa. Well, that's going to be a cue for me to go silent. BRB. Hey. How are you, baby? I'm okay. Hi. I slept till 9. It was okay. Not so bad. I love you, boo-boo.